Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. Today we will be talking about the Hertz SP 4.500 amplifier. So this amplifier is the upgrade to last year's HMP 4D, and it is the little brother to the SP 4.900, which released a few months ago. So the Hertz Power Sport amplifiers are one of the most reliable amplifiers on the market. They're true weather resistant because they have a rubber seal and end caps on them. All the connectors are 100% weatherproof. So they are definitely more weatherproof than most power sports amplifiers and motorcycle amplifiers on the market. The only one that even comes close is the Rockford Fosgate M5. But the Rockford Fosgate is a lot less power than the Hertz amplifiers. The SP 4.500 is the little brother to the 4.900. It's about 2 inches shorter. Everything else about the chassis is the same size. So it gives you a different option at different price points. As a matter of fact, the soundboard that we have behind us, I never finished putting it together because I was waiting for this amplifier to come out, because I was going to install this one, the HMP 4D, to run the 6.5s and the 6 fines, and the 4.900 to run the 8s. So now I'm going to use the 4.500 to run the 4 speakers and the 4.900 bridge to run the 8s. And I like the fact that both amplifiers look the same because it would look kind of funny with 2 different style amps. There's nothing wrong with the HMP 4D. It's just not powerful enough in our opinion. And it's going to cause a lot of confusion because if you look at the box for the HMP 4D, it's rated at 600 watts max power. If you look at the box for the SP 4.500, it says 600 watts. They chose to rate the HMP 4D at maximum power, which I don't like, because if you look at the RMS power bridged, it does 150 by 2, 150 and 150 is 300. And then they doubled that number. That's how they came up with this number that I don't like. So if you're just looking at the box, you're thinking that the 2 amplifiers produce the same amount of power since they both say 600 watts. This one is 600 watts RMS, this one's 600 watts peak. So technically, this one is half the power of this one. So if you have this one on your bike, good solid amp, reliable, it's giving you a clean 60 by 4, 75 by 4. If you upgrade to this one, you're gonna almost double your output because you're gonna be getting 90 by 4, 150 by 4. So if you have the HMP4, the SP.500 is a great upgrade for you if your speakers can take it, or the 4.900. Obviously, since the amp makes less power, it's got a 10 gauge power input, where on the least I would use on the 500 is 8 gauge. If you have the space for it, run it with 4 gauge. Nothing wrong with running more current than the amplifier would need, especially on a bike. If you're on the SP 4.900, you have no choice. You have to run 4 gauge. So this one will run, the SP 500 will run on 4 or 8 gauge. The 4.900 has to be 4 gauge. The HMP 4 run on 10 or 8 gauge. We tested this amplifier, did really well. We knew it was going to do well because everything that Hertz builds is over-engineered and reliable, and the failure rate is non-existent. I don't think we've ever had a Hertz amplifier go bad on a motorcycle. But the reason we don't use them a lot, most of our installs are 2 amplifiers in the fairing. With the SP 4.900, unless you're using a Lex rack, you're not getting 2 of them in there. You gotta cut. With the SP 4.900, with some creative massaging, you can get 2 of them in the fairing, but it's going to be really tight. But this is a solid 1 amp install for an entry level 2 speaker, 4 speaker setup. So if you have a 2 speaker setup, this can work great. If you have a 4 speaker setup like SX 165s and SX 690 Neos, this is a great starting point. Much better than the HMP 4D. In my opinion, we like to run more power so we can overcome the wind noise on the highway. But if you have a 4 speaker setup and you want to drive them powerfully, 4.900, or if you have a 6 or an 8 speaker setup, the 4.900 is the perfect solution for you. A single amp that could do it all. on your rider bike setups. If you're building a competition bike or a parking lot pimp, obviously you're going to want more power than that. But these amplifiers on average offer way more power than a lot of the popular motorcycle amps on the market. And I'm talking about the non-Brazilian made brands. So if you're looking at the Chinese made brands, Rockford, Hertz, Diamond Audio, Arc Audio, then the Hertz is some of the most powerful amplifiers, especially 4.900 available for motorcycle audio. Hertz now makes complete kits, so you put together a package with amplifier, lids, DSP, lid cutting kit, 6x, 6.5s. They now have complete packages. We've always had packages available here at the shop, so if you're interested in us putting a package together for you, just reach out for us and we can help you with your system design and layout. But all the same features that the 4.900 has, the 4.500 has. So your crossover, gain are hidden behind this end cap. You remove the 4 screws, set your adjustments, and then put the cap back on, and that weatherproofs this side of the amplifier. This side of the amplifier is nothing to be removed. Everything is sealed shut. So you can get this baby wet and not worry about it, especially on the street glides. Street glides are infamous for pouring water into the fairing. It's Hertz audio quality. We actually have it installed on a bike, so you can check it out. But SP 4.500, SP 4.900, and then the little brother HMP 4D are the 3 motorcycle power sports amplifiers that Hertz offers. And I believe this really rounds out the line for them, because if you're doing let's say you're doing a complete Hertz setup with a set of 10s, a set of Hertz 10s, or a set of Hertz 8s in the bags, or even if you want to run 4 8s, 2 in each bag, the SP 4.900 will give you more than enough power. You're talking over 500 RMS per side, 250 watts per woofer. That will be a good sounding bike. And then if you're only running a pair, let's say you're running a pair of 10s, it'll give you 500 watts per side RMS. You get a little more than that when the bike is running. Really great for your rider setup, and really good sounding amplifiers. Check it out. I find it a little annoying that they put these Molex connectors on, because you have 3 powers, 3 grounds, and then the other side your speaker wire. So at the shop, this is the way we do it. We take all 3, put them together, and put a wire furl connector on it. So this goes to our distribution block, ground, power, and this side plugs into the amplifier. And if we're tight for space on the install, we'll just cut the connector off, solder these wires together, and do an 8 or a 4 gauge lead, because these connectors can take up a good amount of space in the fairing. Don't know why Hertz did that on the SP line, but I guess they did it to make it water resistant, because they're packed with silicone on the end so water can't get into the wiring. But I wish they would have ran a single 8 gauge power, single 8 gauge ground, or a single 4 gauge. But I'm sure there was a reason for it. Maybe the way they want to distribute power on the board. People much smarter than me designed the amplifier, so I'm sure it's there for a reason. But that's what the connectors look like.